Strange days in the city of Portland as community members come out to try to stop late-night riots, then get targeted by the crowd. In one instance, people threw paint on a woman as she stood between them and the East Precinct. In another, a woman using a walker tries to put out a fire and gets stopped. Their efforts come hours after Portland leaders called on people to step in and help.
The Portland Police Bureau showed some new tactics used by some of those rioters in the crowd, among them rebar spikes to puncture the tires of police vehicles and markings with the word press meant to confuse officers.
A dozen adults were arrested last night, 11 of them seen here. 10 of them are from the Portland metro area. A lot to sort out there from last night's events. Fox 12's Sarah Hurwitz is live with all the details. Sarah?
Oh, yeah, last night some community members actually stood right in front of the East Precinct here to make a point to rioters that they don't want them here. Now we talked with a couple of neighbors who say that there is now talks about a neighborhood watch group. A group targeted the Portland Police Bureau's East Precinct for the second night in a row. Police say the group spray painted and dismantled the surveillance cameras, lit a garbage can on fire, and pushed it against the building and tagged the building with graffiti. Police say large rebar ties were thrown into the street to pop police car tires, and paint, rocks, and fireworks were thrown at officers. Police also say that several people wore press on their clothing and taunted officers. Some community members, like this elderly woman, stepped in to try and stop the vandalism, but instead she was hit with paint herself.
I think what the protesters did was egregious. I commend those women for their guts, for their boldness, for their courage. I feel like they are a rallying point, and at some point you have to just look at your own heart and say, what am I going to do about this situation? Am I going to let this violence continue, or am I going to make a stand?
Krista and her husband Dan, who live nearby, say that Dan went out to stand by the East Precinct Thursday night to support the police and have dialogue, not violence. But they won't stand for what's happening in their neighborhood.
A lot of our fellow neighbors are saying enough is enough. The line stops here, the buck stops here. We are fed up.
She says there's talks about forming a neighborhood watch group, but they say the community shouldn't be forced to try and handle this themselves.
They are for protecting. They're to be protected by police, and it's the city leaders who need to step up and lead.
Now, city leaders have consistently said that it's up to Portlanders to help stop some of this violence. And now, given what we saw last night with some of those elderly community members stepping up, trying to stop some of the vandalism, we asked for clarification from city leaders on what exactly that means. Now, take a look here. We did get a response from Portland Police. A spokesperson says, I think there is a disconnect there. The chief was referring to the community coming together collectively to send a message that this is not acceptable. He was not recommending individuals put their own personal safety at risk. Now, the neighbors that I also spoke with today say that there is a neighborhood rally that is planned at 4 p.m. right outside the East Precinct here this Sunday. Reporting live here in Southeast Portland, Sarah Hurwitz, Fox 12 Oregon.